Welcome students. Currently we are understanding figures of speech, and figures of speech are very important and there are many figures of speech. So today we will understand some other important figures of speech. The first one that we are going to understand today is epigram. So let us understand what is epigram. Epigram is a brief saying that expresses some antithetical ideas or sentiments. What is the result of these? The result of these is that they draw our attention, they evoke some surprise. So, in such sayings, this figure of speech, epigram, exists. So let us see. In this figure of speech, we use brief pointed sayings, often expressing antithetical means opposite, contrasting, antithetical ideas or sentiments. These are the brief pointed sayings in which some antithetical ideas or sentiments are expressed. The idea being to evoke surprise, or draw attention. Some popular examples of epigram. The child is the father of man. He makes no friend who never made a foe. He makes no friend who never made a foe. The art lies in concealing art. The art lies in concealing art. Lie heavy on him, earth, for he means architect, laid many heavy loads on thee. So in these examples you can see, let me write one more example. In the midst of life, we are in death. The child is the so here we can see that there is contrast in every saying. The child is the father of man, so there is contrast. He makes no friend who never made a foe. Foe means enemy. The art lies in concealing art. If you will hide art, then your art will be more visible. So there is contrast. Lie heavy on him, earth, for he, architect, laid many heavy loads on the. Many heavy loads is a reference to the buildings. And the architect who is now no more and he is buried. So here there is contrast. In the midst of life we are in death. So here we can see that there is contrast. So I hope you have understood. Now before we proceed further, this is a recap. What is epigram? Epigram is a brief saying that expresses some contrasting ideas. What is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is to evoke surprise, to arouse interest, to draw the attention. Okay. So I hope you have understood. Now we will move over to the next important figure of speech, which is irony. So let us understand what is irony. You might have seen many sentences which express irony. You know the meaning, but you don't realize which figure of speech is there, and you remain unaware about it. So we will understand how irony comes in a sentence, in a dialogue, in a situation, in a particular context or atmosphere that is described in a play or a story. So let us see irony. This is a special mode of speech. This is a special mode of speech means this is a particular type of figure of speech in which the real sense or intention of the speaker is just the opposite the real sense or the intention of the speaker is just the opposite of what is conveyed literally. If a person says something and he intends some other meaning, what he is saying, that is not his intention. His intention is something else. So his intention is just the opposite of what he conveys through his words, then there will be irony in such a sentence. Similarly, there might be a situation in which what you expect from the situation, the real outcome is totally different. So these are the situations in which irony comes. So let us see and understand through various examples. As I have told you, sometimes a speaker says something but he intends some other thing. His real sense is something else than the literal meaning conveys. Sometimes the situation shows you something, but in reality it is something different. The outcome is something different. You expect something from a situation, but the real outcome is something different. So we will understand it in detail. So let us understand what are the types of irony. Types. There are three types. First is situational irony. Second one, verbal irony. And the third is dramatic irony. Now let us understand what is situational irony. It comes when the real outcome is totally different from the expectation of the audience. This situational irony will happen when the outcome or the result that is coming out from a certain situation is totally different from what we normally expect. So what we normally expect, suppose there is a tax inspector or there is a traffic inspector, we can say, and if a traffic inspector is challaned for over speeding, then it would look something strange that a person whose duty is to enforce the law, he himself is flouting the law. So in such a an example, there will be situational irony. So let us understand it by some examples. Situational irony, as I told you, it tells you the situation gives out some different result than what we expect. So this is the example. Let us understand. The fire station burns down. The fire station burns down. What is the duty of the fire station? What is the work of the fire station? Is to douse the fire. But if the fire station itself is burning, then it would be somewhat strange. This is the one example. See another example. The police station gets robbed. What is the duty? What is the work of the police station? Is to protect the public from getting robbed. And here the police station gets robbed. So it is a situational irony. The pilot fears the height. The pilot who flies the aeroplanes, he fears the heights. So this is situational irony. The soldier is afraid of dying. The soldier is afraid of dying. The soldier is afraid of dying. So you can understand these are the examples of situational irony. Now we will move over to the next part. That is the verbal irony. So let us understand what is verbal irony. Verbal means orally. Orally what is conveyed if there is contrast in that. Orally what we say, verbal irony. In such an irony, the words of the speaker convey just the opposite of what he or she means. Here the words convey just the opposite. There is no connection between the intention and the literal sense of the words. So let us see. Suppose if the weather is very bad, weather is foggy, stormy, and your friend says your friend says. What your friend says? How pleasant weather we are having. How pleasant weather we are having. So what will be the irony in this? This is example 1. Here there is verbal irony in it. Actually the weather is foggy. The weather is foggy. The weather is foggy or stormy, we can say. See another example. How nice. How nice. My sister said when I told her that I had worked the whole day. How nice. My sister said when I told her that I had worked whole day. So she says how nice. So there is verbal irony. Okay. He is my dearest child. If a father says, he is my dearest child, the child is handicapped. He says, he is my dearest child. He is my, so there is, this sentence would be ironical. He is my dearest child, the father said. The father said about whom? About the handicapped child. If such a situation is there, then there would be verbal irony in that. Okay. Now let us understand one more type of irony, and that is called dramatic irony. So let us understand. Dramatic irony generally comes in the play and movies. You know that in a play or in a movie and in novels also there are certain characters, and sometimes such a situation comes when one character is unaware about the action of the other character. Or you can say that when the characters are unaware about the next situation, about the outcome of their actions, but the audience who is watching the play, the audience who is watching the movie, or the reader who is reading the novel, the reader knows what would be the outcome of such an event and what the other character thinks about this character, but that character is unaware. So in such a situation, what happens? That dramatic irony comes. So let us understand dramatic irony in a play or movie. A character sometimes remains unaware about a certain happening or the outcome of an event Sometimes he remains unaware what is the intention of the other character. Sometimes he is not aware about the intention of other characters. But the audience knows. But the audience knows something. Knows something about it. Now let us understand. In a play or in a movie, a character sometimes remains unaware. A character is unaware what will happen next. And the audience who is watching the play, who is reading the novel, or who is watching that movie, the audience immediately comes to know what will happen next. In the same way, what a character is thinking about a particular character, the audience knows, but that particular character doesn't know. So that is called dramatic irony. So let us see let us understand it through some examples. In the Tempest, the Shakespearean play, what happens that Alonso in Tempest, we are talking about Tempest, Shakespearean play. Alonso laments over the loss of his son Ferdinand. He laments over the loss of his son Ferdinand, and we know that Ferdinand is alive. We, the audience, we, the readers, know that Ferdinand is alive. So this is a dramatic irony. This is the example of dramatic irony. Now the real question is, I have just told you a situation, but the dramatic irony lies in the situation, no doubt, but in the dialogues also. When Alonso says something, laments, so how he is lamenting in those lines, there would be dramatic irony. So this is one example. Similarly, another example. Prospero has planned the marriage of Miranda and Ferdinand. He has already planned the marriage of Miranda and Ferdinand, but Miranda and Ferdinand, these two characters, are unaware about the intention, about this planning of Prospero. But we, the audience, know that Prospero has already decided to marry them. But still Miranda and Ferdinand are pledging to marry each other. Still Ferdinand and Miranda pledge to marry each other. Why? Because they don't know what Prospero has thought, what Prospero has decided to do. But we who watch this play, or we who read this play, we are aware of it. So this is called dramatic irony. I give you one more example. Suppose you are watching a movie and a person has hidden himself in some room. Okay, a murderer is searching that person, and unintentionally he goes into the same room. Victim doesn't know that the murderer has come, but we know, we who is watching the movie, we know that murderer has actually entered the room. So these are the situations of dramatic irony. I hope you have understood these two figures of speech, epigram and irony. So you improve your understanding and keep watching. If you are new, then subscribe the channel And if you are the regular student, then you suggest the channel to your friends and well wishers. Thank you.